What's up, guys? It's been a minute since I've made a video, and this one has been in the works for quite some time. I still don't think I'm going to get it right because there's just so much detail to what happened and how it unfolded, and I'm still processing actually today, almost 3 months later, my experience with the plant medicine ayahuasca. And if you're not familiar with what ayahuasca is, it is thousands of years old, from the rainforest. It is a plant medicine, psychedelic healing modality, so many different things that can release DMT in your body and really help you to purge your ego and fear and a lot of those other things that we are constantly bombarded with, especially in today's society. After my spiritual awakening is when I first heard of ayahuasca, and actually maybe a few years ago, celebrities were getting into it. Chelsea Handler did a thing about it. But it never really piqued my interest. The way that the last year unfolded, I started to get more into these esoteric concepts and was doing a little research. Then one of my favorite YouTubers, Aaron Dowdy, check him out if you haven't. He's got over 1 million subscribers. He was hosting a retreat, and somehow, out of 20 people he picked, I got one of the spots. So I find out I'm going to Costa Rica with a bunch of strangers, out of the country actually for the first time in my life. And after I put my deposit in, find out maybe 10 days later that my company is laying us all off. So if I would have found out 10 days later, I probably wouldn't have had the means or the funds to just up and go to Costa Rica. So the way that worked out, pretty synchronistic in itself. After I found out I'm going, I told my parents I'm going to Costa Rica for this retreat. They didn't really know a whole lot about it. I told them ayahuasca. And then, unfortunately, Netflix made a documentary showing the good and the bad and the exaggerated of ayahuasca, and that brought up some major fear from my loved ones. And Mother Ayahuasca, and I know that sounds pretty crazy, I think she was working on me and my family already because it brought up really hard conversations. It brought up a lot of anger or fear, all those things being projected towards me for my choice of going. But I still was going. I was pretty headstrong about it. So a couple months passed after my family and I are still pretty contested with one another, and it's finally November. Get on the plane, go to Miami to Costa Rica, get on a bus for 2.5, 3 hours, all the way up this mountain to this beautiful, like probably the most beautiful place I've ever seen, retreat in Costa Rica. 2 infinity pools. You walk out to see the mountain view with the ocean in the background. I mean, literally movie scene. We have one night to kind of get to know each other, and then we have a whole day actually. We have a whole day. I got to lead a breathwork class for all these strangers who are like family now, so that was really cool. But then that night was the first night of ayahuasca. So we all set our intentions, fears starting to come up, people are getting a little apprehensive. But the night comes around and we are ready to drink the tea. And the ceremony is a very, very sacred space. They do a lot of energy clearing. We have all of our mattresses out. The altar in the center is just the most beautiful piece of art almost that I've ever seen. The music's beautiful, and we go up to take our first cup. And I had a pretty full cup, wasn't feeling much. Maybe an hour or so passed, and I start to see other people starting to, have some purging effects, or start to, release emotion, or see some things. And I was sitting there just hanging out. I was watching everyone. I was watching the guy in front of me kind of struggle. I was trying to keep my eyes on him. My favorite YouTuber and another favorite YouTuber and his wife are next to me, and I'm just trying to play it cool. And I think that was something that I was trying to control. So everyone else is having these really profound experiences, and I'm just sitting there. And then they call for a second cup. And the rule almost is if you're able to get up, you should drink a second cup. So I was quick up off my mat, ready to go drink another cup. And still, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, not really feeling much. And everyone else, most of the people, at least half the people didn't even get up to get a second cup. So then I'm getting in my head, like, what the hell? I came all the way out here for this. I'm not getting anything. And, as this ego was coming up, control. And I I fell asleep, woke back up, and yeah, the night was over. They ended the ceremony, and everyone else was really processing some deep things. People saw themselves being reborn. There was images of snakes, I guess. There was so many wild things that people had interactions with celestial beings. And I'm just sitting there like, I fell asleep. I didn't really feel much. Which, I mean, I was a little disappointed, not gonna lie, but it was what it was. So the next night rolls around, and it's time for ceremony number 2. Pretty similar to the first night. I take the first cup, not really feeling much. I lay back, put a sleep mask on, and I see a few visuals, colors here and there. Nothing crazy. Then I'm like, what the hell? I spent this money. I came out here. I've done all this healing work this whole year. I thought ayahuasca was going to do it. I thought this was going to be the one that had all the answers. What do I need to do? And then for the second cup, I took it, and I was like, all right, I'm going to really lay back and just let this happen. So I'm sitting there. I'm like, this is stupid. Why am I out here? My ego's just like talking me off this ledge. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you trying to prove? Who are you trying to be? All this stuff. And I'm just in my head. And out of nowhere, my arm goes. I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, that was weird. And then my arm goes. And I'm laying down, and it's just going up and down, up and down. I'm like, what the heck? And then I hear this soft female voice saying, you think you're in control? And she's kind of laughing at me. I'm like, what the heck is this? And I've always had issues with this shoulder, so this was kind of strange. Then after that, she starts rotating it, and I could not control it. I mean, the shamans come over and move my water bottle so that I don't smack it. I'm just sitting there. I'm talking maybe like an hour and a half, 2 hours of this. She goes, baseball player, huh? That's what I hear in my head. And it's funny because I've always had a regret of not playing baseball. I thought that was something that I would have wanted to do. So it's interesting that was said. And then right when the ego started coming back up, I'm like, no, I'm just losing my mind. I'm doing drugs or something. This is drugs. My parents are right. I'm out here doing drugs. I'm an idiot. Like, what is this? Right when I had that thought, my other arm went. And while it wasn't like me seeing myself be reborn or learning this profound, deep lesson or having this amazing business idea, it was all about control. That you think you're in control. And she also showed me with my other hand that I could massage that shoulder issue, that I can give myself love. So it's about control and being able to love yourself for where you're at. In the moment, I didn't really see it for that. I was like, okay, this was interesting. It was a celestial surgery. I guess it's a common thing under ayahuasca. Mother ayahuasca came down, aliens or whatever, and worked on my physical therapy for 2 or 3 hours. But other than that, I'm like, that's cool. I met people out here. This was a great trip. Beautiful sightseeing. I did some, sloth tours, saw some waterfalls, all that good stuff. It wasn't until I got back to Charlotte that ayahuasca continued to work. And when I got back, that control lesson kicked my ass. The whole year, you guys have, if you followed me on social media at all, I've been very vocal about my unpopular opinions. I want people to see the things the way I see it, and please just like look at the facts, wake up, control. During the first 2 nights of ayahuasca ceremony, control, watch them. There's your favorite YouTuber, be cool, do this, sit up, meditate, don't throw up, don't shit, don't whatever. Control. When I got back to the States, I realized my lease is ending. So many of my friends have turned their back on me. I'm running out of money. I got COVID. I told myself I could never get it. I got COVID. There was a leak at my apartment when I got back. Just this sense of like, you're in the middle of this shit now, and what can you do? You can't control any of this. This is literally all external factors that you cannot control. And it was the hardest lesson. I went through a depression after it, like 2 or 3 weeks of just like down, like what was the purpose of this whole journey, this whole spiritual awakening, this whole trip to Costa Rica, all this shit that I've done of healing work. And it wasn't until that surrender, that let go of control came in, that I was like, oh wow, I can only transmute the energy. I can't change everything. And yes, we are in control of our own destiny, but only in the sense that you can choose to react or respond. And bad things do happen, but you just have to change the way you feel about it and be, accept it. If you can't do anything about it, you just have to kind of set with it. I could talk really probably forever, because this is just one side of my ayahuasca trip. There's so many things that are still unfolding and lessons that will continue to unfold, because once you work with plant medicine like ayahuasca, it's with you for life. If you have questions about it, I'm more than happy to talk about it. I've already talked for almost 11 minutes on this thing now, but I love you. Let's, keep healing. Let's do this remembering work. We oftentimes forget how powerful that we really are. If you're not into the plant medicine, I'm offering breath work still. Meditation's great. I do Reiki, all these things, journaling, just remembering how divine, and I don't know, it's a crazy world that we live in, but it's so exciting to be here. Yeah, I'm at a loss for words, but we'll talk soon. I love you more than you know. Cheers.